I get plenty of emails and messages from developers asking me to check out their indie horror game. I always give them the time of day because I absolutely respect indie developers and enjoy seeing their work as well. I've had the honor of discovering many great pieces of work just from the devs reaching out to me. So if you are a dev and you do want to contact me about your horror game that you're working on, don't be afraid to do so. I always love to see it. But when I do get these messages, I don't usually expect a lot from them. A lot of the developers that reach out to me are younger devs or less experienced devs. A lot of the time it's their first project ever, and there's nothing wrong with that. I still love to see it, but that's why I simply do not have the highest expectations with the games that I'm sent. However, sometimes they do truly blow me away. And I have one of those times. A dev reached out to me about their indie horror game, and I was just genuinely shocked. Allow me to introduce you to Motherhub. Motherhub is an FPS survival horror indie game inspired by games like Dead Space, Half-Life, and others. It features RPG-like mechanics to tell a riveting story while also being extremely fun to play. Motherhub takes place in a dystopian future after a mysterious illness has infected the majority of the population. The only human beings remaining are in a massive vault called the Motherhub, and that includes our protagonist Thea as well as her mother. There is hope of a cure to this mysterious illness left behind in the deepest parts of the Motherhub. You have to explore the vault, survive, defeat enemies, manage your resources, and save your mother and the rest of humanity. This game has yet to be finished. A demo for the game is currently available, with the full game set to release in 2025. But the demo and Steam page are enough to show that this game has an incredible amount of potential and is on track to being an outstanding indie horror title, in my opinion. But what makes this genuinely mind-blowing to me is that Motherhub is a game being made by one person, and has been in development for roughly 8 years. And that is just so admirable to me. I have so much respect for any creator that is so dedicated to their passion project that they actively work on it and continue to make progress over such a long period of time without giving up. Over 8 whole years, it would have been so easy to just stop, or to size down the project, or to make significantly less progress in that time. But this developer kept at it the whole time, and again, they are on track to delivering something truly amazing. So let's actually talk about the Motherhub demo. But before I do so, I do want to give a slight disclaimer because I'll probably see comments about it or people in my actual life telling me about it. I'm not an expert in survival horror specifically. I play a lot of indie titles, an insane amount of indie titles, and survival horror is pretty underrepresented in the indie field for whatever reason. So a lot of things I say will probably come across as amateurish, because I'm not a professional in this specific field. And also, to keep to my theme of being an indie horror content creator, all the games that I'm going to reference when comparing this to other games or bringing up other games are going to be indie titles. Just for the sake of sticking true to things I'm familiar with, but also things that are within my niche. Firstly, this game feels very satisfying to play. The melee combat feels fantastic, which is something I appreciate a lot. I understand that the basic melee weapon in a survival horror game is meant to be a last resort. It's not meant to be your main method of attack. But I just genuinely dislike when your last resort weapon in a survival horror game is so annoying to use. That is my biggest problem with My Friendly Neighborhood, a game I really like. Using the wrench feels beyond awful. It is inferior to using a gun, which is a good thing. That is how it should be. But I don't think that means it has to be so miserable to use. A game like Lost in Vivo is much more preferable in my opinion. In Lost in Vivo, the big sledgehammer is way less efficient than a gun in both power and speed, but it still feels good to use because every swing feels impactful. And the knife you get later in the game is much faster and very responsive, despite being an inferior means of defense compared to a gun. In Motherhub, melee combat is generally inferior to using a more powerful weapon, but it still feels nice to use, which is something I really appreciate. The gunplay is also really tight, and I like alternating between the different weapons. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing revolutionary about it. Having a pistol and a shotgun is pretty standard, even if the aesthetic is different from other games in this space. However, I have seen and played games where the shooting mechanics just simply feel bad, and it can easily ruin the experience. Mother Hub's gunplay is enjoyable and responsive regardless of which weapon you're using, and its melee combat is nice. I think this game is just really fun to play and well put together. But although it's fun to traverse the game purely because it's exciting to shoot and stab the hell out of these monsters, Mother Hub has so much more to offer than just good first-person shooter mechanics. One of Mother Hub's most noteworthy features is its RPG elements. There is a lot of text and dialogue and optional pieces of the story to explore all throughout the game. There are so many objects and parts of the environment that you can interact with that have multiple options for different text to read. The most recurring and interesting to me is the ability to unlock Thea's memories. Some of the pieces of the environment that you can interact with have an option to unlock Thea's memory, which helps flesh out the past that led up to this point and explain Thea as a character. It's an interesting way of bouncing between the past and the present in a fairly simple way and a nice way to develop our main character. And what also makes it really good is that pretty much all the text that you can read is optional, so if you're replaying the game, or if you're just playing it to play a fun FPS game, you don't have to worry about blocks of text just always appearing. There's always options of what you can and can't read, especially with unlocking Thea's memory. It's always just an option, so it doesn't break the flow of gameplay for returning players, but it's really nice to read for the first time and explore the world. Much greater at fleshing out the world outside of Thea, though, are tapes that can be found in various places around the map. The voice acting in this game is pretty consistently good, and provides an emotional attachment to the world because it humanizes all the people that have passed. So the protagonist is cool, and the world is cool, or whatever, who cares? You know what's truly peak? Norman. This is Norman. We love Norman. Norman is a goofy-ah robot that creates and serves rat juice. He is such a good boy, and I want to give him so many hugs. I'm just gonna pretend I did not murder him on recording. In just this demo alone, which is about 30 minutes for reference, the world of Mother Hub is made one of the most interesting worlds I've seen in the indie horror landscape. The journey is intriguing to me, and I can't wait to be able to explore more of it. The character work up to this point has been both eerie and genuinely entertaining. I'm just really excited to see the story unravel in the final game, and learn more about the universe. It is also important that I mention how fantastic this game looks and feels overall. The environmental work is gorgeous, and surprisingly varied for just a short demo. There's some pretty great art used for some of the storytelling at the beginning and middle parts. The quality of the graphics is really impressive for an indie title of this scale. And I will say, this game has potential to be pretty scary. The enemies in this game aren't the most unique or distinct, but their behavior, paired with the environments and the context provided by the way the story is told in this game, make for some cool spooky moments, and I can definitely see some greater scares being pulled off in the final game. I wouldn't mind if the game didn't end up being so outwardly scary, because the atmosphere is already really good, the story is already great, and the game is clearly more focused on being a quality first-person shooter, so even with a lack of scare factor, it'll be a very fun game, but I think there's some great potential for some quality horror here. As of now, I think that's all I have to say about Mother Hub. I more so wanted to make this video to hopefully shine some light on a smaller game, but also I just wanted to talk about it because I actually really like it. I really love the demo for this game, and I am beyond excited to see what the finished product is like. It is just so cool to see a game that's this high quality release in the near future in the indie horror space, and it is always incredible to see an indie developer that is this dedicated to what they want to show to the world. Like I said at the beginning, it's just so admirable to see that kind of commitment to a passion project. So yeah, I know this was a shorter video, and I know I didn't necessarily have that much to say about it, but Mother Hub will be linked in the description. Go shove that baby in your wish list, share it around, go show this dev and all the underground indie developers the love and support they deserve. I just really enjoyed this game, and I'm really looking forward to it. The full release, I genuinely think it could be something really, really good, so I want you guys to go check it out and give it all the praise it deserves. That is going to be all, though. Thank you so much for watching. Become a member for less than $4 a month if you want exclusive content and perks, and to help support me and the channel, of course. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, because that also helps out plenty, and I greatly appreciate it. And that'll be all. I'll see you guys next time.